My name is Todd Hirsch, and I like to think about the economy in a different way. Well, the global economy in the 21st century is very different than what it looked like in the 20th century. Geopolitics has reemerged as a real disruptor to the economy. Well, as an economist, I think about climate change kind of in two different ways. We no longer think about work as only a paycheck, but we also want belonging. We also want inclusion. You know, a few years ago, economists thought that inflation was a problem from the 80s and 90s. There are a lot of things going on in the economy, and a lot of times audiences can feel quite anxious about all of these things swirling around them. My name is Todd Hirsch, and when I talk to audiences, they're going to come away with less fear and anxiety. They're going to come away with optimism and hope and even a sense of humor about the global economy. You know, when I talk about the economy, at its core, it really is all about human connection. I don't think we could emphasize enough how important human relationships are. And again, I think that's a truth that everybody understands and fundamentally gets. And so many other speakers and all of the different ways they talk, and a lot of it really just comes down to human connection.
Now, what happened on that day? Well, often this story is interpreted as a miracle.
So the problem I'm trying to solve is help them understanding what is going to be coming their way, how it's going to affect their industry, and how they can start preparing now to avoid the worst case scenarios to help navigate their way through that disruption.
Around the year 1500 AD, a Japanese shogun warrior by the name of Ashikaga Yoshimasa, he did something that he deeply regretted.
Please welcome to the stage one of Canada's leading economists, Todd Hirsch.
Well, I start my presentation actually with a really fun story from 8th grade phys ed.
Many years ago, in a very ordinary looking gymnasium, in an ordinary suburb, a bunch of ordinary grade 8 boys were lining up in phys ed.
Well, as the Boy Scouts always would say, you know, always be prepared. And I think in the 21st century, businesses and industries, they would serve themselves really well by preparing for any number of things that could come their way, rather than putting a lot of false confidence in a single forecast. And this is where forecasting can even be a little bit dangerous.
You probably know where this story is going. 2 boys remain, and one of those boys was named Todd Hirsch. Now, you might be wondering, why am I telling this story? Well, in fact, I want to convince you that picking teams in phys ed is a lot like the economy. In fact, you might subtitle my presentation, "Everything I Need to Know About the Economy I Learned in Grade 8 Phys Ed." Anytime I work with an organizing event, customizing my presentation is really important.
Todd has been with us 4 or 5 times even. We get him to do our economic update every single year.
And the more I can understand the audience before I'm on stage, the better I'm going to be able to tailor the presentation.
His amazing presentation is catered to the people that are in the room.
Well, you know, I think he uplifts the audience and people that he's speaking to with tactics and opportunities, even in times when there's a lot of challenge.
Made it really approachable. It was fun.
He grounds you in something that's experiential and something that you can relate to.
I love how he always brings personal examples into the conversation, and he just makes the conversation a little bit more human.
I used to tease my mother because she would buy 5 blocks of butter and put 4 of them in the deep freeze, and I'd say, "Mom, why are you hoarding butter like this?"
Economics can be a pretty technical subject, right? So I think what Todd does is tends to bring it to like more relatable terms.
And really talking about the climate. As a young person, I think that's one of the most important things to me is that we are talking about this.
The Q&A is always the favorite part of the presentation for me because I know what I'm going to say, but I don't always know the questions I'm going to get asked.
So the idea of taking fear out of the conversation, he was masterful at that, and he had to be, because somebody asked him about total global nuclear war.
I know that when it comes to investments and money, people get very emotional.
Human connection is really at the core of the economy. It's all about relationships. It's all about building trust and confidence with one another. It's about kindness and respect.
It impacts everything that we do, impacts our house payments, impacts our job prospects, that sort of thing, the industries we work with and work in. So he brings it down to like a relatable level.
I think honestly Todd is great for any audience because he can tailor his presentation for them.
I always want to help people understand what's going on. Every time there's fear, it's usually because people don't understand the forces that are affecting them. We can't control them, but we can understand them better. That brings the fear level down, and it helps us make better decisions. I think I'm the person because I don't know too many other economists who, talk about preparing. So rather than predicting, I'm all about preparing. How do I help industries, and how can industries and companies prepare for any number of situations? Sometimes when we talk about the economy, we talk about it like it's a big block. But the economy isn't a big block. The economy is really nothing more than hundreds of millions of decisions taking place at the same time. And all of those decisions really, at its core, they depend on human connection. The burning sense that I want audiences to come away from is the idea that human connection is at the core of everything we do. Basic kindness is at the core of everything we should be doing. And if we do that, we can start to sort of navigate the economic disruption that's coming our way. And let's face it, right now there is a lot of anxiety about what's going on. So for me, I want to leave the audience inspired and hopeful.
My name is Todd Hirsch, and I like to think about the economy in a different way.